Welcome back to the Nuxanor channel, where we tackle the unknown, the cancelable, the most nebulous creations on God's earth, women.
$5 a month.
I had to start that way. We have to get the cancelable stuff out of the way first so none of the haters actually make it through the video. I don't want any clips of this posted on Twitter, okay? As a man, I feel like I am the perfect person to make this video. Having nothing to do with gender, just because I am a massive fan of media and storytelling in general, and I feel like other people wouldn't necessarily want to tackle this topic due to the fear of the Twitter warriors. I have grown past that level of fear. So I've been doing a series on my channel that kind of was on a little bit of a hiatus because I've been in the process of moving and everything's been incredibly hectic. Women done right or wrong. And I've been getting a lot of comments asking me for the next installment of that. So that brings us to today. How to not write a female character. I decided to make these episodes come out more themed so that the 4 characters that I will be talking about, too great, too terrible, fit into a specific niche. I feel like it makes the content better, and I'm all about giving you that good content. So definitely subscribe for more, I don't know, women hatred. I want to shed light on the really great female characters that shouldn't just be disregarded for one reason or another, and also because shitting on terrible written characters is one of my favorite things ever, especially if it ties into some ideology that offends people. That's just even better. Today's theme, really strong, overpowered, incredibly broken, badass women. Today, I didn't want to just hype and talk about incredible moments and women that I want to step on me. I wanted to talk about women that I want to step on me and why I want them to step on me. No, that tape came out wrong. Now, there is this archetype of female character that's really been plaguing the world, and that is the strong female character that's strong for the sake of being powerful to show you that women are actually powerful. In my humblest of opinions, I think the first thing you gotta do is write a goddamn good character before deciding, oh yes, that will fit this gender checkbox, and this sexual orientation checkbox, and this race checkbox. I feel like all that stuff is important if you're writing a character from that setting. However, really secondary to if you're writing a good character, which I don't think would be a controversial take, yet people still seem to hate me for saying it. For some really odd reason, people like to think that if you're writing a really powerful, badass woman character, she has to be absolutely devoid of any positive character trait aside from being strong. By the fact that she would be giving something up from herself because she, let's say, loves someone or cares for someone or has some sort of insecurity that someone else manages to help her deal with, that is a weakness for this woman character, and therefore we will not show that at all, which in turn, in my humble opinion, makes the character feel far less human. Normally, I start off with one of them done right, and then I move to the done wrong and zigzag that way, but I'm gonna start with the done wrong just so I can express to you all my frustrations with this archetype, and then move to the done right, and then another done right, and then back to the done wrong. It'll be really fun, don't worry. I make these videos beforehand. And this intro is incredibly important. Keep all these things in your mind, because there are a lot of characters, especially coming out recently, that fit this bill, this archetype. And that is why the character that I think embodies this entire aspect of completely losing every shred of humanity she could have is Rey from the new Star Wars trilogy. I'm gonna express to you exactly how heinous her crimes were in a very simple way. You have a lot of people that are avid, incredible Star Wars fans, and then when this trilogy came out, it destroyed the legacy of Star Wars for them. Imagine a show that you love so much, like let's say Naruto. You love Naruto, and then Boruto happened. I was always a Star Wars casual fan. I liked the original trilogy, I liked the prequel trilogy, and then the new stuff came out. In my opinion, there was never this vast legacy that I was always pulled to. I was never such an avid fan that I felt like something can actually ruin it for me. Yet someone who wasn't even that much of an avid fan, who didn't, tie my identity to this piece of media, I still felt a little part of me die with the new Star Wars. In the past, we've had this incredible legacy of the Chosen One character. In the prequels, they thought it was Anakin, but it turns out it wasn't Anakin, it was his son Luke that was the legendary Chosen One that would restore balance to the Force and all that stuff. I thought that this whole prophecy shiz, this was all really cool. A hero that you could really get behind, and a hero that definitely suffered loss and takes L's. Lots of L's. But it doesn't matter that he takes these L's because he'll keep getting back up, and that's what makes him a hero. Despite the emotional baggage thrown at him, the fact that this dude had no one to teach him this stuff until he freaking trained with Yoda. I don't want to get lore stuff wrong, but you know what I do appreciate a lot about Star Wars, the original trilogy? There was a struggle. And it wasn't just because he was up against unthinkable odds, it was because he doubted himself if he was truly the one that would be able to actually bring balance to the Force. He relied on Obi-Wan so much, and when Obi-Wan finally, you know, he did not think he would be able to continue on his own. Take the Luke from that trilogy, and you know who he is now? He's a loser, a sucker. He's just some guy now, some weird old hermit guy, some cringe dude. But Rey is the chosen one now. And Rey has done everything correct that no one else has in the past. You see, my complaint with Rey isn't that she's strong. It's the fact that I feel like she never struggles. She never has that inner turmoil that she doesn't want to keep going. All the things that made Luke a hero, you know, aside from his actual strength and victory in combat, are things that she is lacking because she is so perfect. And not only is she perfect, but everyone around her is essentially a walking dingus. Luke relied so much on his peers, on Obi-Wan, on Yoda, on Han Solo, on the freaking squad, the boys. Everyone had really important things to do to keep this plan going. Without his allies, he would have accomplished nothing. But Rey is not like that, you see. Rey's perfect. She can do everything. She doesn't even need a teacher. The teachers are losers compared to her. In my opinion, this does not make a hero that is even somewhat relatable. This does not make a hero, and this does not show the soft side of a person that really makes them a human. Which brings me immediately into Weapon Review! Introducing Yor from Spy X Family. Spy X Family is, I guess, primarily a Comedy Central anime, which, I mean, I do appreciate and all, but to say that there aren't emotional high points, that's just not true. The overall premise for the show is you have this dude named Lloyd. He is a spy from the Western country, and he needs to infiltrate into the top brass of the Eastern country. The only way to do this, to get to this top brass guy who only shows up out of hiding like once every year to get to this crazy school meetup with all the most important people in his kid's high school, which is the high school he graduated from. Lloyd's job to infiltrate is to adopt a child and have that child join the school, do well enough in school to get to that elite club so he could meet up with that other dude's father for the really important intel shiz. All right, listen, the plot's not so important for this point. Point is, he needed to create a fake family, and the fake wife that he found for himself, because in order to have a fake family, he needed a fake wife, is Yor. Unbeknownst to him, Yor is an assassin. She is an incredibly badass warrior, and essentially the strongest character in the show. I am not one for power scaling, but Yor is an absolute mad lass, and she shows it time and time again. No one in the show can take her down. Yor would defeat Goku faster than Nikocado Avocado would defeat a bag of Takis. I just remember the scene where she's playing tennis with this other lady, and she takes her racket and she whacks the tennis ball so hard, and then the tennis ball just falls down, and they're like, oh. Then the tennis ball gets shattered into a million pieces because she swung the racket so hard, the ropes on the tennis racket sliced the tennis ball into 1,000 tiny cubes. This is a character of unknowable, inconceivable power. I'm really trying to run this home because on a realm of overpoweredness, she far surpasses in her own universe someone like Rey. And here's the beauty. She is a fantastically written female character. So she becomes the fake wife and fake mom of the fake child. Now, of course, the shenanigans are that the fake child, Anya, is telepathic. So she knows that the dad is a spy and the mom is an assassin, but the mom and the dad don't know each other's professions at all. So they're each have like this whole fake secret life from each other, and the girl is just kind of freaking out all the time because she knows exactly what's going on. It's a wild premise, and honestly, it's one of the most wholesome shows I've seen in a long time. I highly recommend giving it like 3 episodes, and if it's for you, you'll immediately like it. But that is not the point, and that is not why we're here. Yor is a character who, despite all of these incredible feats, is someone who is incredibly emotionally distant. Someone who is incredibly clumsy with the simple things like cooking and cleaning, where she constantly feels like she is a burden on the people around her. She had to convince her brother she took all these crazy jobs so her brother can get cool college degree, when in fact the crazy jobs that she took was being an assassin. She was always there for him and supported him, and that is why she went down this alley and this rather interesting career path. Yor is a character with obvious weaknesses, especially in the emotional department, that she relies on Lloyd for, albeit not physical protection, but for an emotional closeness. She relies on Anya as someone that's willing to accept from her, and she could finally be someone that gives life to somebody as opposed to someone who's just living, taking life from people. She lives in this really creepy duality where on the one hand, she's the most overpowered, incredibly powerful character ever. No trauma or fear or war gives you even an ounce of doubt in your mind that she will not absolutely eviscerate her opponents. But it's her insecurities, it's her dreams, it's her caring, it's her putting other people ahead of herself, and it's her needing other people to lean on in order to truly find happiness that makes her whole, that makes her a character that I want to root for. No, I can't relate to beheading 47 people with nothing but my panties, but I can relate to her fucking up dinner. I think a young girl who, you know, wants to someday find love and be awesome would have a much easier and more wholesome time relating to a character like Yor, who will give her good virtues in her life, than someone like Rey, who has everything handed to her on a silver platter essentially, who never actually needs anyone's help whatsoever, and who suffers so hard from main character syndrome. Every single supporting character in the entire show basically pulls a Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings saying, "Rey, I can't carry your lightsaber for you, but I can carry you." And the army of Sims lift her up to Lord Plagueis the Wise. All right, I'm just spewing random shit at this point, but you get my drift. Next woman! Now, before getting into a bad one, I wanted to do another good one. Yeah, we're gonna do bad, good, good, bad. It doesn't follow any shiz. It just, I think, makes the video flow better with the ideas and concepts that I actually wanted to say. In the writing stage, this is how it made sense to me, so that's how we're gonna do it. Boilers! The second unfortunate bimbo, as they are called, that are written terribly, that is gonna be Ariel from the Little Mermaid remake. But before talking about her, we are going to be talking about Millie from Helluva Boss. Now, this will be a shorter segment than the previous ones, as will the Ariel one, I believe, because I already covered more or less the talking points that I had for this video, the concepts that I wanted to breach. I think I did a pretty okay job, if I do say so myself. Definitely subscribe. 10,000 likes and another woman review is coming your way, where I review more women and get canceled again. But before we continue, I'd like to take a moment of silence out of respect for women as a whole. Anyway, Millie from Helluva Boss is a character that probably has the least intricate backstory of any of the characters in the entire story. Millie, this character, is the subject to a lot of criticism online, which is why I've selected her for this specific entry, and that is because a lot of people consider Millie to be a relatively one-note character. Whereas the overall cast, every single person in this cast, has this incredibly rich, deep backstory and incredible trauma, Millie is like literally the only person in the entire show that doesn't have crazy family drama because her family's actually nice, and therefore, it's not like every episode with her, she's growing per se, because she's relatively sound of mind already. As sound of mind as a murderous psychopath bitch could be, but that's my favorite type of bitch, so it all works out. She's here because in regards to the main cast of Helluva Boss, their jobs are go to the human world from hell, and they have a target to murder. For whatever reason, they're being paid off because that dude's an asshole. They go there, they murder him. That's basically every episode. Now, most of these episodes end up taking place in hell, random shenanigans, but that's their job. That's more or less the premise for Helluva Boss. Now, when it comes to the brass tacks, as my editor Stevie likes to say, or when it comes, as I like to say, God damn it. Millie is a murder machine. Whenever there is like a massive horde of people to kill, or demons that are attacking them, or any form of bloodbath or bloodshed, Millie is the gal you need. Blitz will have his million of weapons, his arsenal of freaking shotguns that he's gonna be pulling out. Moxie will have his pistol and basically have a one-on-one fight for the entire duration of the fight scene because I love Moxie. He's a beautiful man. And then there's Millie, the absolute carnage-inducing savage imp lady. A woman so incredible that her thighs are thicker than a grimace shake. And she just will walk into a horde with one axe and murder all of them in the most wholesome and disgusting way possible. In episode 3 of season 2, she literally murders like 6 gang members with a dildo. It is the most beautiful thing in the world. She is incredibly powerful and someone to be feared. Even the upper level demon lords don't have these levels of brutality like Millie does. And that's a lot of people like to boil her character down to, and she's just an incredibly supportive wife to Moxie. The latest episode of Helluva Boss actually introduced some sort of Millie focus, where previous episodes just had her kind of as a side character. The savage killing machine on the side that never actually got character development focus or insight, and finally we did get that insight. Now, I think that she's a beautiful character. She is a character that despite her strength, despite all of that, she just truly cares about her husband Moxie, to the point that she will basically put herself down so that he could feel more important. Moxie is an incredibly insecure character, and we see that every episode of the show. He's constantly being berated by his boss Blitz. He's basically the black sheep of his entire family. The only person that can make him feel good about being himself is Millie. And in Millie's character, she deems that to be the utmost importance. She truly loves him. They are husband and wife, and they do everything for each other. Millie is willing to sacrifice her own pride for the sake of keeping her husband happy and proud. And a lot of people say that this just makes Millie less of a character. Millie is just some lady who just doesn't really have any sort of agency on her own. I completely disagree with that. She doesn't need the traumatic backstory to be a well-written character. Being there for your spouse, whether you're male or female, you just gotta be there for them. That's the commitment you made when you married them. And that is a commitment that she follows. In my opinion, that makes her an even more badass character. Swallowing your own pride to help someone that you truly love, that is being a powerful character. It's so ironic that the world is looking at that as weakness in some way. That in so many modern movies and modern renditions of powerful characters, them being powerful is just them not willing to sacrifice their own pride for others, when that, in my humble opinion, is a state of weakness that is incredibly hard to respect. Millie is a character worthy of respect. A character so badass that she'll walk in there and she'll basically be a one-man army ready to take out any opposing forces that possibly exist. But despite that fact, someone that's not willing to compromise on her virtuous nature, on keeping her husband happy and proud to be himself. In any relationship, there is sacrifice. There's sacrifice that needs to be made because you have found someone that in your eyes should be treated as more important than yourself. Millie, a character who, in my humble opinion, exemplifies that trait to such an incredible degree, is worthy of everyone's adoration. Next woman! Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the absolute pile of sludge, the bottom of the barrel. That's right, baby, we are at the point of our lives where we put on a brony My Little Pony curse animation video and just basically went on autoplay until we wound up on Pornhub. That's where we are today, The Little Mermaid Remake. Now, the reason why I am specifically mentioning this at the end of the video, and I wanted to put the Millie part beforehand, is because let me tell you the difference in my eyes between the original Little Mermaid and the Little Mermaid Disney remake, the live action one. Aside, of course, from the colors and the animations and the music and, you know, all the redeeming superficial aspects. Obviously, that's all great in the original and kind of shitty on the second one. My complaint is when people complain about the modern Little Mermaid movie because, oh, Ariel used to have red hair and was white, and now she's black. That's stupid. Okay, shut up. No one cares about that shit. I will show you a reason to complain as an absolute master of complaining. Someone who has complained on YouTube for years. My entire brand is the art of complaining. Ariel was a character that, in my opinion, was incredibly strong-willed and someone that wanted to, you know, get out of water, wanted to see the world, wanted to experience, explore, and enjoy. Someone who loved, someone who dreamed. At some point, the prince guy falls into the lake and, you know, he's drowning and it's really bad. And Ariel saves his life. And he's like super grateful because Ariel, mermaid lady, literally saved this man. He owes her his life now. I hope he could return the favor someday.
So much for true love.
He risks his life with this ship, stabs her in the chest with the ship. It's incredibly badass. It's a symbol that humanity is not actually as selfish as you would think, and it makes Ariel's dad be like, humans are actually not so bad after all. I guess it was just a fluke that they killed your mother, Ariel. And that was the ultimate conclusion to, you know, the movie. And then Ariel is able to finally date the princess guy with the blessing of her dad. She saved him. He saved the ocean people in return. It's just whole wholesomeness all in a nice little bundle. All right, this was the original Little Mermaid. I don't know why I'm describing the plot to you. Oh yeah, I do! It's to highlight the differences between that and the remake. Now, the remake did a lot of things wrong, especially in regards to Ariel's character. To all these people that are like, oh, I can't watch the new Little Mermaid because the live action Little Mermaid's black. I don't know, bro. That's a cringe take. You want to hear the right take? The right complaint? So this part's the same. She saves him when he's drowning and that's all good, all right? Now, here's the difference. she's not in love with him. She wants to go to land because she wants to travel. You heard correctly. It has nothing to do with love. Travel, because if she would love him, it implies that he has something that he needs to give her, and she's perfect, she's strong, she's epic, she doesn't need no man. That's the mentality change in this, and it's like,
are you sure about
you're
that?
going with that? But it doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that whole quid pro quo that I was explaining to you, that she rescued him, and now he rescues her and risks his life and gets the favor of the dad and all that shiz? No. In the remake, Ursula's incredibly powerful, so what does Ariel do? Ariel takes control of the prince's ship that she's obviously never driven before, and she drives the mast into Ursula and kills her. In my opinion, this is the most heinous remake thing I've ever seen. And then you're probably wondering, wait a second, so if he didn't go out on a limb to save the sea, then why is the dad all of a sudden forgiving the humans, and that the humans killed the mom? The humans aren't so bad after all. That whole thing, that was basically the whole plot. Yeah, we don't know. They literally just leave that plot thread open. That there is no bandage. They don't even try to make believe that this is covered even a little bit. It's almost like the fact that he saved her back is an integral part of the entire movie and the entire story that fits all the threads together. Yes, you have made Ariel badass by Ariel being the one to solve her own problems. You know, the mistake that she made by getting Ursula all that power, well, she rectified it all by herself because she is incredibly strong, badass, and independent. But you know what you sacrificed? You sacrificed everything else. You sacrificed having friends help you when you make a mistake, having your good deeds actually breed people to want to do your favors in the future. You sacrificed every aspect of Ariel's character. Yes, she doesn't have the negative trait of not being able to do everything herself, but is that really worth anything at this point if you lose every other aspect of what makes her character relatable? And I will end it with that very, very rhetorical question, because no answer is required. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Woman Review. As a man that likes women, there's no way to coat this in a way that I'm not gonna get canceled. Just go for it at this point. Just make sure the clips you use are bangers. I hope I can at least pay your rent with all the stuff that you want to cancel me for. That's what I'm here for, ladies and gentlemen. I don't just support myself. I don't just support my family. I don't just support my employees. I also support my haters. Now, name someone as benevolent as your overlord Nuxanor, and I will applaud you. Subscribe, leave a like, 10,000 likes for the next women review. It's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be the concept of not showing weaknesses. Gonna talk about Robin from One Piece, Mulan. We're gonna be talking about Captain Marvel. It's a real banger. We got a lot of fun stuff upcoming. So, love y'all. Big kisses. Toodaloo. Stay weird, man.